Hello guys, my predicting Michigan's offense video performed really well for me, and you guys seem to like that. So I'm doing a Michigan's defense prediction video. I am a Michigan fan. I think this defense will be pretty good. If you like this type of content, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Starting off at right edge, or you could say left edge, it doesn't really matter. I got Jalen Harrell. Now, I think he is one of the best players on this defense. I know he only had 3.5 sacks last year, but he didn't really get to start that much because, of course, Michigan had Mike Morris, Taylor Upshaw, Yabi Oki, Randy McGregor, a lot of other players, and 3 of those players left. Mike Morris is going to the NFL. Same with Taylor Upshaw. Yabi is transferring, and so I think that opens the door for Jalen Harrell. But when you did see him start, he was amazing. He had 2 sacks in that game against Purdue. He did really good against Ohio State, making plays. He could be an edge or a regular linebacker, even though I don't really think he has the speed to play, regular linebacker and to drop into coverage that much. But you have seen him make plays. You saw that play that he made against Ohio State in coverage. He's really good at tackling. He wasn't the greatest against TCU, but he wasn't terrible. But yeah, it's because he wasn't starting. Now he's going to come in. I think he's an athletic freak. And this defense has underperformed in the playoffs. We need guys who are fast, who are really athletic in the playoffs. And while our defense has worked against Big Ten teams in the past, kind of struggled in the playoffs. But Jalen Harrell is one of those guys I think could do really good against, like an SEC team or one of those really good teams. I think he's an athletic freak, very good speed for an edge rusher, very, very good tackling freak. I think he's gonna have a breakout season. And left edge, or you could say right edge, whatever, / linebacker, another one is Joshua Stewart. He's a transfer from Coastal Carolina, and while he did only play in Coastal Carolina, you cannot ignore his numbers. In 2021, he had 12.5 sacks, first team Sunbelt Conference. Last year he only had 3.5 sacks, but I still think it's really good. And again, he's another one of those speedy guys. Michigan has lacked a top edge rusher ever since Hutchinson and Ojabolap. Mike Morris was very good for a while last year, but then he kind of sputtered out due to injury. Taylor Upshaw kind of failed to perform a little bit. Yabi Oki didn't really get enough time, but whenever we saw Jalen Harrell in there, he did pretty good. And now we have Joshua Stewart. I still think that McGregor, he could challenge against Stewart, and there's probably going to be a rotation there. But still, the only thing concerning with Stewart is he's not the biggest guy. But again, he's an edge rusher / linebacker. Not going to be like the biggest guy, but he has enough speed and kind of like Harrell enough. He has got very good finesse moves to get around the edge. If you watch his tape, just look at his finesse moves and his ways to get off the blocker. It's very good. I think that 3.5 sack season last year for him was a fluke. He's very, very good. I think he's going to flourish with Michigan. Now, again, I could see Brandon McGregor challenging. I really liked what I saw from him, so it's probably going to be a little bit of a rotation. But those are the 2 edge guys. Defensive tackle, you got to do Mason Graham. He was only a true freshman last year, and even though he wasn't the main starter for a lot of the year, he still did very, very good, racking up tackles, making key stops. There's so many plays. It's like 3rd down and 1, 4th down and 1. He's the first guy to meet the running back. Jim Harbaugh called him a blessing from the football gods. So it's not like Jim Harbaugh is like not considering him for the starter. He's going to be a starter. He's very, very good. I think he could be one of the best. I think he could be first team all Big Ten with his defensive tackle. Honestly, he has PJ Mustipher type potential, a run stopping freak. He's not going to be the greatest pass rush type of guy, but he's a defensive tackle. What could you expect? Other defensive tackle is Chris Jenkins. Stuck around for a while. This is his last year. He's pretty athletic. Not the most athletic, but he's pretty good. Not really any other competition challenging him, and he hasn't really got the chance to be a full-time starter yet. But I think right besides Graham, he's going to be really good. You could see Benny in there too, but I think that Chris Jenkins is going to be other defensive tackle. Very good defensive line group. Now, middle linebacker, it has to be Junior Colson. It has to be. I think he's probably the best middle linebacker in the Big Ten. I don't care what anybody says. Seth Benson and Jack Campbell are gone from Iowa. I think there's that much people challenging him for the best middle linebacker in the country. As a true freshman, he was dominant. He almost overtook Josh Ross in the 2021 season. 2022, he was even better. Played all games. He can just fly around the field. He can cover all the good tight ends. He can just play in there every single snap and be good. There's not much competition for him at middle linebacker because I really like Michael Barrett, and we got a transfer from Nebraska. I just know his first name is JoJo. Tanner Colson is a freak. He's a difference maker, and if we're going to want to win a playoff game, he's going to be the guy there. Other linebacker, Michael Barrett. You can make a case for that transfer from Nebraska that we got, or Jaden Hood. Michael Barrett, again, he flies all over the field. His first year in 2020, he had that one really good game against Minnesota where he got like that pick six and the block punt recovery, I'm pretty sure. And then he had another good game, and then he kind of fell off, and we thought, I thought in 2021 that he would emerge onto the scene. If our defense was going to be good, we need to have him. Well, he was kind of disappointing in 2021 a little bit, dealt with a little bit of injuries. I'm pretty sure, you correct me if I'm wrong. But then this year, he had a complete 180. He was a beast all over the field, had a slow start to the season, but then he came right back in. He did very good. He had an interception against Rutgers, and he's been balling out ever since. You look at him against Ohio State, he had that monster tackle, and I think his potential is better than Colson. Now, unfortunately, this is his last year. I wish we got to see more years of him because I think he could have really blossomed. But when I'm saying really blossomed, he's still very, very good right now. He's pretty much reached his ceiling almost, and I could see him getting even better this year. He's just like Colson, but maybe even faster. He can fly all around the field. Very good person. I just don't really know what to say if we're going to want to cover those tight ends. I think Barrett and Colson are the guys. Cornerback number 1 is Will Johnson, arguably one of the best corners in the Big Ten now. I know there's a lot of competition, but still, he's just a freak. Lately, our team has been not really lacking, but I mean in the big games. You saw against TCU, that was bad. We've been lacking that guy that's super, super good in the playoffs. Well, I did really like our secondary last year. You saw, the height, but Will Johnson, it doesn't matter. He was a 5-star, the gem of the 2021 class. Didn't really get him starting at first, but then he came in and he was amazing. He got an interception or two against Rutgers. And ever since they gave him the starting job, he just ran with it. And it's not like he was okay, he held his own. No, he was the star out there. He had 2 interceptions against Purdue as well. He did pretty good against Ohio State with those super good receivers. And you just saw, I think he could transfer to Alabama or Georgia and maybe even challenge them for a starting role. He is one of those guys that's going to make an impact if Michigan wins the national championship. He's one of the best players on the field. I cannot wait to see more of him. Yeah. Slot corner, we got Mike Sainristil. He is returning. The converted wide receiver was amazing last year. In this video, I'm talking about a lot of guys who had a slow start to last year, didn't start. Well, last year, Jim Harbaugh gave him the starting role. We all thought he was crazy. And then he was one of the best tackling cornerbacks. If we want to see our team make a run, we're going to have to be better at tackling, especially in that freaking TCU game. Mike Sainristil, one of the probably our best tackling DB out there, and we have a lot of good ones. And he's also a lockup play. Watch that play against Ohio State that he made. It was a key play in the game. He's a key player. Last year, he's one of the best slot corners. His height is not the best, but again, that's being picky. He has ball skills for days because he was a former wide receiver. Can't wait to see him progress because, a converted wide receiver, he really overachieved. Because you'd expect a converted wide receiver, even if he was a really good cornerback, to struggle at least a little bit coming out of the gate. Even though he has a bunch of practice before the season, you'd expect him to struggle at least a little bit. He came out of the gate and did really, really good, but the thing is, even though he played really good last year, that's still not his ceiling at corner because he's still getting used to being a cornerback. He's going to be even better this year, and I cannot wait to watch him. Cornerback number 2, this is a real question mark. I know might get some hate for this one. This is our really big weakness on the team because Turner left and Green left. I guess I'm going to have to put Makari Page. I know he is a safety, but I think he has the speed and the height. He is 6'4" to do good. We've seen him get a lot of interceptions over the years. It's just we have so many good safeties like RJ Moten and Rod Moore, who really burst onto the scene that kind of took up his playing time at safety. But even then, he got in a lot at safety last year, and he played very, very good. I can see signs of greatness in him, and it's not like he played amazing. I still do not know how I still don't think he's not nearly as good as Rod Moore at safety, but he's still pretty good at safety. And I don't know how he'd do good at corner, but I think he has the speed and a lot of good traits because he's got ball skills and speed. I just don't know if he can cover because he's much more of a zone guy. The only guys really I could see McBurrows maybe starting there, even though I don't think he'd be ready that much at all. We could see that Walker guy or whatever on offense. You could see him convert to corner because there's been talks with his speed and his strengths that he might get converted to corner, the running back there or the wide receiver. But I think the safest play to do right now is just put Makari Page at corner. He's the next best secondary member that's not a starting safety. Free safety, RJ Moten. He showed signs of greatness in 2021, got a lot of key interceptions, and while he did play good last year, he didn't play as good as I wanted him to. I thought he'd be a really key member in our secondary, and he was, but he wasn't dominant. He didn't really take over the game. He wasn't as impactful as Rod Moore. Still, he wasn't terrible either. He was solid, and he's better than Makari Page there. He's very good at zone coverage. He can drop back. He can get a lot of interceptions. He has good ball skills, but he's been playing so good. Maybe not as good as his flashes of brilliance in 2021 did. I know, and no, I'm not making this up. This might just be me, but I thought I saw signs of a really good player in 2021. He still played good last year, and I still really like him, and I think he can take a big step forward. And we don't really need him to play amazing because of the other safety. Free safety is Rod Moore, one of the best tackling safeties in the nation. He's a Will Johnson type level talent. He was okay in 2021, pretty good, and then he got the starting safety role in 2022, and he absolutely took off in it. Wow, he was so good, nabbing multiple interceptions. He had 4 interceptions last year, tied for 22nd most in college football, and had 48 tackles, and he was only a sophomore last year. That is amazing. And he plays more like a strong safety. I know it's a free safety, but he plays more like a strong safety. It doesn't matter. People overlook his deep playability because people just assume that he's just, blitzing in. He's just a blitz type guy who can only tackle. No, he can also play amazing zone coverage. He grabs multiple interceptions. And I was talking about how good he is covering and how good of a tackler he is. His ball skills are also amazing. You look at his interceptions, they're very good, and he makes very clutch interceptions. Made the game-sealing interception against Michigan State, and correct me if I'm wrong, he had that interception against TCU. He's a very clutch player, very fast, and like I was saying, we need those players that can convert against those super athletic guys in the playoffs. Well, he can do just that. One of the most athletic guys on the field. He might be our best player on defense. I'm not saying that, but that's how good he is. He can play strong safety or free safety. He makes tackles. Just watch his play. He's just so good at tackling, and his ball skills are just so good. I cannot wait for Rod Moore. You could also see guys in the secondary, because if anybody gets injured, these are honorable mentions. Zeke Berry, Keon Sabb, both 4 stars as well. You could also see Jaden Hill, the 4-star that we got from this year, if Makari Page cannot transfer to cornerback number 2. But yeah, that would do it for my video. Sorry if I mispronounced players' names like I did in the last video. If you like this, please subscribe. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, and I'm gonna keep posting sports content. And if you want more Michigan content, subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, well then I may not show up on your For You page. But yeah, thanks you guys so much for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Go Blue, bye.